Peaky Blinders is nearing the end of its sixth and final season. The series premiered in 2013, so the cast and crew have been involved in the historical drama for quite some time. Peaky Blinders cast devoted themselves to their roles as characters from 1920s Birmingham. It was a difficult task, and the cast maintained authenticity by adhering to the rules. So what exactly are these rules? How are they portrayed? Let us investigate. Starting us off, be able to use a passable Birmingham accent. Peaky Blinders is set in Birmingham, where the accents are difficult to imitate. The show's creator, Stephen Knight, told the BBC that the Brummie accent is so difficult to master that production companies avoid filming in Birmingham. As a result, the Peaky Blinders cast needed to be serious about nailing their accents. Eleanor Tomlinson was even turned down for a role in Peaky Blinders because she couldn't pull off the Brummie accent. The reactions to the cast members' accents are mixed. One Quora user raised an intriguing point, quote, "I'm one of those people who recognizes the distinction between a broad/strong/thick accent and a subtle, soft accent. Cillian Murphy has a great slight Brummie accent. Still, there could be a reason why the accents weren't as thick as those of Birmingham natives. According to OSSA, the strong accents had to be diluted to adapt the series for the American audience. Despite this, each cast member had to put a lot of time and effort to perfect their accent. Following that, have an authentic 1920s haircut. Peaky Blinders is set in the 1920s and 1930s, so the cast had to dress appropriately. The majority of the male actors on the show sport an undercut or a texturized crop hairstyle. According to OSSA, Stephen Knight stated that soldiers in World War I frequently shaved a portion of their heads for sanitary reasons in order to avoid lice, although some were hesitant at first. The entire cast adopted the classic 1920s look. Quote, "It was a gradual shaving off of the hair." Murphy joked in an interview, "I looked in the mirror and said, I don't know. I wasn't sure about the look." Paul Anderson, who plays Arthur Shelby, explained in the same interview, "Fortunately, Anderson warmed up to it. I've grown to like it. I adore it," he said. Male extras auditioning for season 6 were also not allowed to have modern facial hair or beards, modern haircuts or fades, and they had to agree to shave if needed. According to OSSA, female extras had their own set of requirements. Quote, "Women's hair could not be dyed or highlighted, and the required length is mid-shoulder." Next up, some bad habits. Puff-like chimney smoking is an integral part of the Peaky Blinders lifestyle and reflects the alleged reality between the wars. We rarely see a scene without anybody clicking their lighters or puffing on a cigarette. Smoking has additional symbolism for the series. It indicates the deep level of stress the characters experience, so are all the actors heavy smokers in real life? Otherwise, how have they managed not to ruin their lungs with excessive smoking? The truth is that the crew used nicotine-free cigarettes for filming purposes. As Murphy stated in an interview, quote, "I don't smoke, but people did smoke all day and night. Then I use these herbal rose things. They're like my 5 a day. I asked the prop guy to count how many we used during the series, and it was 3,000. And McGorry shared that those herbal rose cigarettes they chain-smoked have a horrible taste and smell a bit like cannabis." Oops, they were still smoking. Harry Curtin, nicknamed Finn Shelby, was taught how to suck counterfeit coke. Apparently, he watched the so-called expert do it several times to replicate the process. Still, some things had to be changed because Curtin/Finn loves to play in the snow, as they put it, and it's made out of lactose powder, and 3 seconds before shooting, I said, "I can't have lactose powder because I'm vegan." So now the actor is experienced in snorting icing sugar. Speaking of mental and emotional stamina, those come next. Siddiq, the actor, stated that he did not expect everyone to be so enthusiastic about their work. The character sat at the table singing Peaky Blinders songs instead of milling around the cast. They have a pack of mentality and hang out together. They're fierce, so isn't there any room for new additions to the pack? Well, as long as you're okay with going method and keep playing your part screen, you're welcome. Yet, that doesn't mean the atmosphere was hostile, as Siddiq explained. Quote, "I'm not a tough man, so it was by far the toughest character I've ever done," he said in an interview. And Helen McCrory said that the show was so violent that she never watches it because it's dreadful, and one should look away as she did. She continued that they had seen bullets, razors, bloodied bodies, and even a horse brutally murdered, and some fight scenes were so gruesome that they were cut from the final cut. One of the show's stunt coordinators claimed to have choreographed a fierce fight for Paul Anderson, aka Arthur, to use in the Mosley rally scenes. Even so, it was so cruel and violent that it was never approved. Quote, "I got to knee someone in the nuts and that was quite fun," Shelby admitted. "I'd always wanted to do that, and it was her contribution to the series. The script required her to punch the stuntman, but she was allowed to cross hitting his genitals off her bucket list." Let's not forget the period and class appropriate skills. While stunt doubles assisted the cars as method actors, they did many tricks themselves and had to be in character. Killian is an excellent actor, but a terrible fitness instructor. "I'm not the most imposing person in my own life, so I go to the gym and lift things and put them back down," he told Vulture, but there's more to it. Of course, while Tommy rides a horse like a pro, it is a completely new experience for Killian, and he spends weeks learning how to handle those animals. Another factor that transformed Murphy into Shelby was the actor's voice, which had to be toned down to sound more gangster-like, and Helen McCrory had her secrets to give us the bold Aunt Paul. The actress wanted to portray Polly's drug authentically and alcohol-induced haze, so she sought help. David Blaine, an American illusionist, advised her on many mind tricks. Oh, and have you noticed Polly's signature walk-on set? Helen carries a vital accessory that is only occasionally visible, a small revolver hidden in her stockings and garter. What a frightening lady she is. Next up, the Peaky Blinders film appears to be coming soon. So what do we know about it? For the time being, the story specifics are being kept under wraps, but Stephen Knight has dropped hints about what we can expect. He specifically stated that the film will take place during World War II, claiming that he's always wanted the saga to conclude with the conflict. Quote, "I know what's going to happen in those stories, and it's about a sort of untold story from World War II that Peaky's will be involved in," Knight revealed exclusively to RadioTimes.com. Polly Gray, played by the late Helen McCrory, will also, quote, "remain a fundamental part of the film." He said, "More information is yet to be available, but there are several possible paths for the film, and it will be interesting to see which one Knight chooses. Given that Tommy is still alive at the end of Peaky Blinders and is not as terminally ill as he was led to believe, the stage is set for a spectacular comeback. Numerous antagonists will appear in the upcoming film, including the newly married Sir Oswald Mosley and Lady Diana Mosley, who appear to be behind Dr. Holford's false diagnosis. Tommy fighting the British Fascist and Nazi Union? Please, yes. We also have Jack Nelson, James Frenchville, and Gina Gray, Anya Taylor-Joy, who may seek vengeance on Tommy for what happened to Michael and their plan. Meanwhile, several Shelby relatives are still alive and may return. Moving on, tragedy awaits everyone. Knight explained how he had a plan for all of his characters, offering them, quote, "a road to happiness," before taking it away. It appears to be an interesting exercise in testing a character's limits to see how they pick up the pieces when life doesn't give them a break. Knight stated that, like Tommy and Grace, he attempted to explore a similar arc with Aunt Polly, Helen McCrory, and Aberama Gold, Aidan Gillen. Quote, "What I keep doing with these characters is offering them a path to happiness and then blowing up the bridge and refusing to let them cross it. Polly, too, would have been content with Aberama, but he has been taken away from her too. Tommy and Polly have both lost people close to them, and Arthur and other Peaky Blinders gang members who served in the war and have PTSD symptoms that are triggered by upsetting memories and loud sounds are also in the Shelby family. Peaky Blinders handles its characters' mental health issues sensitively. It is never unrelatable or gratuitous, and the writing is always sympathetic to its characters, for which the show has received numerous accolades. Finally, he was frozen inside. In an interview with Peaky Blinders.tv, Stephen Knight revealed that Tommy's past had a severe effect on his mind and that it was nearly impossible for him to escape it. He was emotionally shut down for a long time, and even though he fell in love and things improved, tragedy always awaited the character. Tommy became hard and brutal because he witnessed the worst of humanity during the war and was frozen inside. As many who experienced war trauma trauma are, according to Knight, humans change very quickly in truly horrific war situations. Some part of your subconscious decides if you're going to survive, you've gotta be like this, so you become hard and brutal and all the other things that happen to soldiers. When Tommy returned, he couldn't stop it. He was frozen inside, as are many people who have experienced the trauma of war. Knight explained how, when Tommy met Grace, Annabelle Wallace, and fell in love with her, he allowed her presence to transform his life. Even if only for a moment, her death knocked him to the ground, hastening his mental decline. What are your thoughts as the video concludes? Is there anything we missed on the Peaky Blinders strict rules? Please tell us in the comment section. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons on your way out. Until the next time, thanks for watching.